Hi, and welcome to another video by Get It Done Home Repairs. Today's project is going to be removing this light fixture and replacing it with a more modern fixture. Now we are going to take this down in preparation of doing the painting in the room here, so we'll take it down first and then we'll do another video on the light fixture being put back in. Alright, so let me bring it in. I'm going to show you what kind of tools you're going to need, and then we're going to get this job done. The first thing you have to make sure is that you go into your service panel in your house, wherever your circuit breakers are, and make sure you turn your power supply off. Once the power supply is off, then we'll come back and we'll get started on getting this fixture down and get it finished. All right, let me show you what tools you're going to need. This is an example. Here's an example of what kind of tools you're going to need. We're going to need a couple of different screwdrivers, maybe a very small flathead screwdriver or possibly a thicker, larger one. We'll see how it goes when we take it down. We may need a pair of needle nose pliers. We are probably going to need a Phillips head screwdriver, and this is what's called a non-contact voltage tester to make sure that there's no power in the wires that we're going to be working with. The first thing we're going to do now is we're going to come up underneath here and we're going to take out this flathead screw right here. We're just going to loosen a little bit. We're not going to take it out all the way yet. Same thing over here. Well, I'm not sure what this is all about, but this is something that somebody put up. And we'll take this down a little bit so we can see what's up there. Not sure what's going on with this wiring up here, but again, it's really unsafe. Let me just bring you in. I'm going to show you what I mean. Okay, this is what I mean about something not being done correctly. If you're not sure what to do, you want to definitely read the directions that come with your new light fixture or do a little bit of research. But you see how that wire is just tied around this part of the fixture here? That's extremely dangerous. That's definitely not safe. It's not a good connection. So these normally have an area where you could screw in a ground screw, which would be right into here. Okay? So this wire should have been attached right over to here where the ground is supposed to be. All right, now we know the power is off because we tested it. Well, actually, you know what? Let me just show you real quick. We have the power turned off on the circuit breaker, but I'm going to show you real quick how to test it with a non-contact tester. This is the non-contact tester I was telling you about. If there was power in these wires, it would actually start beeping like crazy. But you can see here that there is no power. If there was power, it would beep like crazy. Okay? So now it's safe to remove these two wires right here and remove this so-called ground strap here. All right, so let's continue. What we do now is just take this wire right here. Hope you can see okay. And this wasn't even attached correctly. As soon as I moved it, you can see it just fell right off, so that wasn't really very good either. We're going to do the same thing here. We're going to turn this counterclockwise to remove it. These are not very good wire nuts. We'll definitely replace these with new ones, of course. These are disconnected. Next, we'll take this wire off right here. And this is trash, as you can guess. All right, so this winds up in the garbage now. We're going to take these wires here, and we're going to screw a wire nut onto this wire and this wire, so while we're working up here and the power is back on, it's going to be safe. Let's take this off now. These we're just going to take off this screw, and we'll remove it from the box. Now your new light fixture will come with a new bracket to install it. So we'll take these off. I guess you can hear my dog barking in the background there. Somebody happened to walk past my house, I'm sure. All right, so now we have the bracket off. We will put the new bracket on later on. Okay, then we're going to take our wire caps and we're going to screw them on here temporarily, just so we don't have any issues when we're painting here. Well, remember, the one that's the hot one is the black. So we're just going to put these up here for now, and that's it. Today we're going to be installing the light fixture that we previously took down, and as you can tell, I do have an assistant here who wants to help out with today's job, and this is Brownie. So, all right, so this is the unit we're going to be installing. It's actually not that I'm endorsing this particular unit. This just happens to be the one that I picked up in the big box store. As you know, is made by Home Decorator. That's the one that manufactures it, and this is the unit that we're going to be putting up. All right, first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about what we're going to need tool-wise. You're going to need a couple of screwdrivers. You're going to need possibly a flathead screwdriver, a Phillips head screwdriver, a wire strippers, and possibly needle nose pliers, and of course we're going to replace the wire nuts that come with the new light fixture. We're going to put those in, and it does come with all the hardware needed to install it into the existing box that you have already in the ceiling. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our light fixture here, and this is exactly how it came out of the box. So what we're going to do is we're going to take off these nuts on the bottom right here. We're going to unscrew this nut so we can remove this bracket. Do not lose these, you're going to need them. Put them in a safe place. And then our bracket comes off like this. Now you remember when we took off the previous light fixture that we had here, they didn't have the wire connected up to the ground screw, and this is the ground screw, and this is the wire that we're going to connect around it, but we'll go up there and we'll do that in a minute. Let's take this and let's mount it up in the box, up in the ceiling. Okay, now once you have this out, before we put this up into the existing box in the ceiling, we're going to set the height right here. We're going to adjust this screw right here so that we have the correct amount of travel once this is mounted up in the box, because you want to have this piece here mounted in the box, and you want this to be flush with the top of the new fixture itself right here. So we're going to preset these to an existing depth, and we'll see, maybe it'll be good, or we may have to readjust it. So we're going to lock it in place right now, just like that. And now these are now tight in place. Let's mount this up in the top. Make sure that you have your power turned off. Now these, you can see I have capped off already because I removed this the other day. We're going to take off the cap here, and we're going to also take off the cap here. Next, we're going to remove the screws that were in there before, and these were just in here so that paint didn't get in here. Now we're going to take our new bracket that came supplied with the new light fixture. We're going to hold it up here, and we're going to put this screw into the box here, and we're just going to catch it by a couple of threads. And we're going to do the exact same thing right here, just by a couple of threads. And now once you have them both caught, now you can turn it in and tighten these screws up evenly. Now at this point the bracket is still loose, and you see it moves back and forth. Always try to center it. Like if you have that much movement, a 1/4 of an inch movement, move it about 1/8 of an inch, so that way it's centered in the opening, and then hold it. Then you can screw these tight. Okay, so they're tight. Let's grab our light fixture and connect that up. Now, as you can see, I did connect the ground wire up already, and the reason I did that is because I don't have 3 hands. It's a little tough to put it up and do this without help. So my helper held it up for me. Now with this ground wire, you're going to tighten that ground screw clockwise. So you want to have the wire wrapped around in a clockwise position so that when you tighten it, it pulls in tighter. But now, as you can see, this is supported now just by the wire. The ground wire is connecting it. Next, we're going to take our black wire and we're going to connect it to the existing black wire in the house. And then we're going to do the exact same thing with the white wire as well. Now you can see that these wires are all kind of frayed here. What I always do is take them and just wrap them around to make it into one strand. And I'll show you in a second. Like that. Same thing on this one here. Okay, to one strand. Next, we're going to take our black wire and we're going to hold this wire against here. Now we take our black wire, bring it up to here, and we're going to take it and we're going to wrap it around just like this, just like that. We're going to hold the top with our fingers like this, take our wire nut, put it on here, and we're going to screw it down clockwise until it's as tight as you can make it by hand. And now we're going to grab the wires, we're going to hold one wire and hold the other wire and pull it to make sure it's a tight connection, which it is. Next, we're going to grab our white wire and we're going to do the exact same thing with the white wire. Put it around here like this. Wrap it clockwise around. Just like that. I'm going to grab our wire nut again, put it on, turn it clockwise, and you'll feel it getting tighter. Tighten it as tight as you can by hand. Like that. Again, grab the wires, pull them, make sure it's tight, which it is. Next, we're going to take our wires and we're going to tuck them in to this space right up inside here to get them up out of the way a little bit. So just take it. Just like that. Next, we're going to take this, get our ground wire in there, and fit it over those two little pins that were sticking down, just like that. Okay, before you tighten it, make sure your wires are all tucked inside and that nothing is showing. And now we'll grab our nut that came with the new fixture. We'll screw it on. We'll grab our second one. We'll do the exact same thing on this side over here. And that's it, it's all set. Let's grab the bulbs, let's put the bulbs in, and we'll make sure it works. Okay, so now that we have the fixture itself screwed up here, I just want to point this out. If you screw these on and the piece is either too long or too short, you can take this back down and just loosen up that nut that I showed you on that one shiny screw, and you can make it either longer or shorter depending on what you need. But as you can see, this is nice and tight up against the ceiling. Everything is set the way it's supposed to. All right, now we temporarily put these light bulbs in here just for demonstration purposes. These are not the ones going in there. We will be replacing them very shortly. Let's turn it on and make sure it works. All right. Okay, so as you can see, replacing the light fixture is really not that difficult. Just make sure that you turn the power off in the circuit breaker box so you don't get a shock. All right, but that's it. This job is done and we're on to the next. All right, don't forget, subscribe. And when you subscribe, click the notification tab, which is a little bell, and you can turn on the notifications to be informed whenever I upload a future video. All right, as always, thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.